And since you did the personality test, I think we should leave that for a few minutes later, since I have prepared a few questions that are related
Yes.
to what we've done in the past sessions. And since you're getting ready for college and in terms of speaking, improving your responses is very important. So the way you articulate, the way you structure, and the way you respond is very important. Here we have some discussion bullets, and we're gonna try and answer those. But before we do that, I have a few riddles as usual. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. Let's start with simple. Which letter of the English alphabet has the most water?
Uh,
Any
I'm.
ideas?
I don't know. I'm thinking what could be like something like that could hold water.
Yeah. Think in English. You have to think in English, of course. This wouldn't make sense unless it's in English. You can't translate it in Albanian. It wouldn't make sense in Albanian.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to think.
Okay. So among all
Uh,
letters,
okay, so I'm gonna list the alphabet first.
go ahead, take your time. It's fine. Don't worry if you don't
So
guess. I just want you to think in English. That's the whole point. That's what I'm trying to do.
yeah, of course. So A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S T U V W X Y and Z.
So there is one letter
Uh,
that contains a lot of water. Has a lot of water. Which one is it?
I can't necessarily like relate them to
Okay.
water.
Yeah, it's in the beginning of the alphabet, one of the first letters.
Oh, because I was thinking it could be O, as in like it has the most storage.
Yeah, it looks like some sort of that would contain water, but yeah, that's good thinking. However, some letters are pronounced exactly the same as some words in English. For example, we had
Uh,
you remember Q
yes,
from yesterday? Yeah. And we
yes.
have also A, B, C. So the letter C.
C, as in like the sea.
Exactly, exactly. So this letter is pronounced as the word CSEA. Okay? This is supposed to change your thinking. So you're gonna start to think in English now. Okay, I've got another one. I've got another one.
Yes.
Forward, it's still related to English language and words. Forward, I'm heavy, but backward, I am not. What am I?
Forward, I am heavy.
Mm-hmm. But backward, I'm not. Think in English and pretend you have this word written somewhere on a paper and you have to figure it out. Forward, I'm heavy, but
I
back,
am
I'm not.
heavy. Uh, okay. Forward, I am heavy. Backward, I am not.
Any ideas?
I'm trying to use context clues, as in like the could be the words, like the how do I explain?
There's a few words that you can read them forward and backward, right?
Yes.
Those are
So
called
you
palindromes.
yes.
So it
So
doesn't
I
have
don't
the
think
same meaning, but in this case, this clue might help you. So forward, I'm heavy. The meaning of that
uh-huh.
word, read forward, is heavy. And if that word is read backward, is not.
Mm. So could
It's a
it be
measurement unit. The word,
oh I get it.
you get it now?
I- Is it a ton?
Yeah, it is ton. So forward, I'm heavy. Backward, I'm not, because ton and not is the same word read forward and backward. Get it now?
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, good, good. You can ask these people at home or people in school, it's your friends or anyone,
Trickle,
just for fun. And also,
of course.
it triggers your ability to think and use your brain in English. That's the whole point. Okay. So
Yeah.
one more and then we can move on. Um, what word begins and ends with an E, but only has one letter?
Ends and begins with E.
But only has one letter, yes. There is a word in English that begins and ends with an E, the letter E, but only has
Uh-huh.
one letter.
Uh,
You have used this thing, so this word is a like a thing. You have probably used it at least once in your life. So this word begins and ends with an E, and it has only one letter.
ends
It's you usually
ends
use
with
that to
E.
give it as a gift to someone. We use that thing. We put things inside. So it has one
Mm,
letter. It has one letter. Begins and ends with an E.
oh, oh.
Okay,
I
surprising.
don't know. I get it, but I don't know. I forgot the other word that it was for it.
It begins and ends with an E and has only one letter. It's the word.
I under- I understand, but I know the different like the synonym to it, not the actual word.
Okay, got it. I'll give you this one. It's envelope.
Yes,
Envelope.
I was thinking mail.
Yeah, mail. Yeah, got it. Mail. So envelope is begins with E and ends in E and has only one letter. In this case, the word letter is referred to the actual letters that people write, not to the letters of the alphabet. That's why it might seem confusing. It might seem confusing. Okay,
I
so
get
that's
yes.
this is just to warm you up. If you have similar riddles or questions, we can do them together. You can even ask me. So I would like to be challenged. Why not? I'm also learning. So feel free.
I'll make sure to prepare some for the next class.
I mean, you don't have to, but just in case you see any similar ones in TikTok or in social media, you can just try and
Yes,
remember. In
I'll do it for fun.
Yeah, 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 for the sake of fun. Otherwise, don't worry. It's not a task or an assignment. Okay, that's very good. That should have been a good warm up. Now we have a few questions to discuss. These are related to
Yeah,
last time's session. So can you please briefly scan and skim all these questions, and then we're gonna take
yeah,
some time to respond each one. Okay, we're gonna do them together.
yes, of course. Are there any particular emotions that associate with music, just like feeling? Why do you just usually express your
Whenever you're
Okay, I think I'm ready.
Okay. And in the meantime, if you remember a few words from yesterday's and the day before's the session that we had, try to use the words within the context. If you remember, if you don't, whatever comes to your head, go for it. Okay. So
I
let's
have the paper right next to me, so
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Very good. Okay, let's go with the first one. Are there any particular emotions, example given, jealousy, embarrassment, and so on, that you just
yes.
feeling. You don't want to feel them for some reason. And why? Why you don't want to?
So other than the obvious ones that are stated, jealousy and embarrassment,
Mm-hmm.
a feeling an emotion I wouldn't like to like feel
Mm-hmm.
uh could be enragement because not only does it like uh does it make you mad, it's also embarrassing for some people at the same time.
Very good. Okay, what other
Uh,
emotions you wouldn't like to feel?
I wouldn't like to feel uh inconsolable because that's like one of the worst feelings someone could ever have.
Okay, okay. Now let's get personal. Have you ever felt these? And what did you do after? How did you get out of the situation? Or what was the effect on you? Try to
So
remember.
for the first one, as I said, for infuriated,
Mhm,
uh, it could be like a time when one of my classmates ruined my project, my
mhm.
chemistry project, and unfortunately I wasn't able to do anything about it because either I would have went to the principal's office
Mhm.
or like I would get a zero. So I just stayed mad the entire time and tried to reason with the teacher so she could let me try to do it again.
That's great. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a perfect example of why wouldn't someone feel that kind of emotion. Okay, very good. And generally speaking, would you consider yourself an emotional person or more like analytical and logical?
I wouldn't necessarily say I'm emotional. I used to be like talking about 4 to 5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
but I just overcame all my emotions. Most of the time, I just feel uh I don't necessarily feel any emotions. Like
I see.
over time, you just like overcome them.
More like you're able to control the way you feel.
Yes,
So you have
yes,
more self-control and self-awareness.
yes.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty much what has happened to me as well in college, but not in high school. You've went through that in high school. I think I went through that
Of course, of
in
course.
at
I've
the
been
same
to
time.
multiple. I have had multiple different situations where either like I found out about the reality of friendships and things such as that. Like that tested me, and I just had to overcome them. And now I'm used to that feeling.
Yeah, great, great. So similarly, the second question is closely related to what we just discussed, but if you could just go ahead and answer it anyway. Do you usually express your emotions or do you try and hide them instead? And if obviously you think I think you don't you're not an emotional person as you said, but whenever if
Yes.
you feel emotional, some sort of emotion in a situation, do you hide them or do you talk to people? Do you talk about them?
Uh. Okay. So honestly, I I was kind of grown up to like not really show any emotions because my parents like told me that if you show your emotions too much, people can take advantage of you.
Okay.
And I found out that that's actually very true.
Hmm.
Therefore, I most of the time I hide my emotions unless it's happiness and things such as.
Yeah, happiness. Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. That's probably the smartest, the wisest things to do. To control, to be self-aware, and to know what to give to people, what to share.
Of
And
course.
what about the next one? In your culture, meaning in our culture, because we have the same
Yeah.
nationality, is it acceptable to express all types of emotions? Are some emotions not expressed in public? You kind of responded to this one, but if there's anything else you would like to add.
Yes, of course. So personally, I believe it's morally stereotypical as in our culture. So, for example, it's gender based. I believe that men are raised like the male.
Hmm.
Uh, Males are raised to like not show any types of emotions, either if it's grief or if it's sadness. Like I can list a personal example. If I used to cry as a kid, my parents would just say "Moskoi se buratsko," and I believe the same was for you.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree.
And uh, females, I believe they're just more emotional in general. They're they're not really suppressed, so for them, I believe it's acceptable to express all types of emotions in our culture other than men.
Yeah.
who are silenced ever since they are young.
So men mostly suppress, and female or I mean, women are usually prone to freely express whatever they're feeling, no matter
Yeah,
what the situation. So they have
that's what I believe.
limits. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree. Okay. In the meantime, whenever you come across a situation that any of the adjectives that we learned, you can use that in a context. Try to use them as much as possible. Okay,
Okay, sorry,
let's go
I
to the next
apologize.
one. No, no, no need to apologize. You're doing great. You're doing very good actually. But we're trying to put the words that we just learned in a context. What
Of
what is
course.
a positive response to anger and what is a negative response? If you had a situation, how did you manage to get through that, or what did you do? You can base that in a real situation or experience, or you can just make up one or talk on behalf of other people's experience.
So, as a positive response to anger, right?
Yeah.
Uh, I believe a positive response to anger could be somehow turning it into astounded or like ecstatic because, or just like being consoled by someone, comforted by someone, being comforted. I think it's one of the best ways to positively respond to anger itself.
Anger.
And for the negative response, I believe being enraged. So a negative response would be using your anger, your enragement for violence, and like use it as an excuse for your violence.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. To use as an excuse. Okay, okay, but that's very good. Now, how can negative emotions be controlled? Obviously, you're still young, but as I said, you're very self-aware, and I really enjoy your answers. But based on your present knowledge, how would you suggest, how would you advise someone to control their negative emotions? Do you have some tricks or some good habits that you do? What would you respond to someone who has a difficulty struggling with controlling emotions?
I believe something that you can use to control your negative emotion is self-reflection,
Mm-hmm.
like identifying things that trigger your sad emotions or your negative emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Identifying them would be really good because it would be effective for controlling your emotions,
Mm-hmm.
and it can help you like make uh, tactics on, or like develop strategies for to not have them in future situations.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally, totally. And the
Or
last,
for some people, I'm sorry, or for some people it could be like communication, like talking to someone.
that's a very good tip. Yeah, very good tip. Good communication is key to solving and resolving many problems, and to expressing a better, or to preparing a better response, whether you're feeling nervous or all sorts of emotions. And we have one last one, and then we have uh, something,
Of
and
course,
which is related to this one, but still, are you happy with your personality, or is there something you would like to change?
I think I consider myself to be very happy with my personality. It's something that I truly believe like it's a very valuable part of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Due to the fact that uh, I believe it's very hard to manipulate me.
Very good.
So I think that's a very like
Very positive and important trait that you
very
have.
positive, yes, very significant thing that I have
Okay.
because I believe it's very easy to manipulate people.
Okay. Okay. And is there anything that you would maybe slightly change, improve, advance, or just do less or do more in terms of personality?
Something, yes, of course. I believe everyone has a thing that they would like to change for themselves.
Okay.
Uh, so something that I would change for my personality is uh obviously, since I know how to control my emotions, I think I know how to control them a bit too much. So
Mm.
uh
So you would like to be a little bit more emotional than you actually are.
yes, obviously. Obviously. I believe have you ever heard of the word nonchalant?
Nonchalant. Yeah, yeah, nonchalant. Yeah, it's a French
Uh
word.
yes. I believe I am very nonchalant, so I would like to be a little bit more chalant.
Yeah, that's typical for ESTP, your personality type, which we're gonna talk about that just a little later. Now, what would you think? Would you like to hear a typical response of someone answering the same questions as you did, like a
Of
sample?
course.
Okay, so we're gonna try and do that, but we're gonna listen and then in the same time see the same questions suggested by the author of the book. Okay, so it
Of
could be a
course.
possible
Yes.
response, and then obviously we can compare your response, your answers with the author's response. Here, the first one.
Are there any particular emotions, for example, jealousy, embarrassment, that you dislike feeling? Why?
Well, I don't particularly like feeling jealous of someone else's success or good fortune. I think that jealousy is a particularly ugly emotion and that it brings out the worst in a person. I also don't like losing my temper. I feel that being quick-tempered is a sign of emotional immaturity. A person who is mild-tempered is not overly impulsive with his or her emotions and usually takes the time to reflect on a situation. This is definitely a healthier approach than flying off the handle when something goes wrong or someone does something that you don't agree with. Do you usually express your emotions or do you hide them? Why?
I usually express my emotions. This is especially true when I'm dealing with a member of my family or a friend. I think that it's important to put one's cards on the table. The people that matter to you must not be kept in the dark about how they or something that they have done makes you feel. I think that being open and honest helps you establish a good rapport with them. I'm convinced that hiding your emotions is a prescription for disaster, especially when those emotions are negative. Negative emotions have a way of poisoning you. In your culture, is it acceptable to express all types of emotions? Are some emotions not expressed in public?
In my culture, the expression of certain types of emotions is considered unacceptable. If, for instance, you express your anger or outrage openly, it is perceived as a sign of disrespect, especially if this anger is directed towards a person who is older than you. As for public places, one is expected to conduct themselves in a composed and civilized manner. This obviously means that expressing emotions openly in public is considered a taboo. Social customs dictate that people avoid doing this. Of course, there are exceptions. For example, openly celebrating a football triumph or the election of a political party. So one could say that it depends on the situation. What is a positive response to anger? What is a negative response?
A positive response to anger would be controlling the overwhelming urge to vent your annoyance, exasperation, or outrage, and distancing yourself from the person or situation that is making you feel that way so that you can put those emotions in check. A negative response would obviously be unleashing the anger you feel, especially if you do so without taking into consideration what you are saying and who you are saying it to. How can negative emotions be controlled?
They can be controlled through introspection, self-awareness, professional help, etc. Are you happy with your personality? Or is there something you would like to change?
I think that I'm fairly happy with who I am. In general, I'm considerate and take other people's feelings into consideration. I'm also friendly and very sociable, so I tend to make friends easily. I can also say that I'm very dynamic and live a very full and active life. On the downside, I am irritable and bad-tempered. I think if I could change something, it would most probably be the way I react to situations that tick me off.
Okay, so we have a few suggested answers. Obviously, yours were very good, but here the author also taught us a little bit on how to start and how to end a certain response. Now, right now, I have just a second because there's in this app. I have a few questions which are related to what we just discussed, and one of the best ways to control our emotions, since we were talking about that, is self-awareness. So we're gonna try to answer a few of these questions. The first one is, if you're meeting a student in the university, you're sitting next to each other during a lecture, and you want to get to know each other's, like getting to know
Yes.
that you do, and they ask you to describe yourself in 3 words, what words would those be?
Uh,
The first thing that
for
comes to
myself,
your mind.
right?
Yeah, for yourself.
Uh, okay, I need a little bit of thinking time.
It's okay. Organize your thoughts, take your time.
I believe 3 words that I could describe myself with.
Mhm.
One of them could be leader.
Okay.
Another one could be accomplished,
Okay.
and I don't want to sound like selfish, but I believe I'm a little bit self-centered.
Okay, okay. At least you're honest, and I mean you're sincere, self-centered. Okay, okay. I understand. People appreciate honesty. Very good. Now, question number, since we're gonna talk about your personalities, hopefully you remembered a few traits based on the results that you had. Question number 2 and 3. If you could answer these two.
Yes. Okay, so the questions are: ask yourself if your personality has changed since childhood, and is your personality like either one of your parents?
No, I mean question number 2 and 3. 2 and 3 only.
Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't understand them.
No, no,
Okay.
it's okay. So based on your personality test results, or based on how well you know yourself, what do you think is
Yes.
your biggest weakness and your biggest strength? You can mention more than one
Okay.
if you have.
So my biggest weakness is, I believe my biggest weakness is I kind of have uh empathy for the wrong people, you know?
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
how do I not, I don't know how to describe it, you know? For example, like I had this situation where one of my classmates, like I had a previous history with him, you know, like I was
Yeah.
really good friends with him, but over time, like I realized what type of friend he is,
Yeah.
and he was gonna fail algebra. So I don't know. I felt empathy for him, so I decided to help him,
So you
even
feel
though I
like
shouldn't have.
you can be very understanding. You can understand the wrong people, the people that you don't usually look
Yes,
up to.
because I used to be one of those type of people.
Okay. Okay, I understand. I understand. So I would suggest one thing. Understanding someone else's behavior and mistakes doesn't mean accepting them. So
Of
so I think
course,
this should make you feel better. So if you understand them, doesn't mean you have to accept and you have to permit them, or you have to say that's okay. So understanding and accepting are two different things. That's one thing I learned recently. Okay, if you have other comments on that, feel free, or if not, we have the next question.
yes. Okay, so For the biggest strength, I believe one of my biggest strengths, it could be my authenticity.
That's great. Authenticity. You're unique and you're original, authentic. You don't like to do what other people do. You
Yeah,
usually have your
I
own
just wanna
ideas, your own.
I just wanna make my own path and inspire others.
I see, I see. Does that mean that you don't have a person you're inspired to? You don't have someone you look up to, someone who.
Other than parents, no.
I see. That's interesting. That's interesting. Okay, very good. Now, since you took the test, here I have your personality test results, which is an ESTP, and each letter here stands for a personality trait. In this case, your personality is mostly, this is percentage wise, so it changes from person to
Mhm.
person, but you're known to be extroverted, observant, a good thinker, and a person who loves prospecting. So
Yes, I believe these are some type of characteristics that could describe me.
yeah, so if somebody ever asked you a question related to your personality or to describe yourself, and if you accept this test result, you can easily answer by saying, I think I'm extroverted, observant, I'm a good thinker, etc. And people would create an idea about who you are. Did you get the chance to read the strength and weaknesses? And if you can see these uh
Uh,
on the left of the website.
Unfortunately, I was on my phone, so I didn't see those.
Great, we're gonna read them together. And I want to have your permission here. If you don't feel too exposed, we can read them together because we might as well, read a lot of details about your personality. Or so, are you okay
Of
with that?
course, I don't mind. I don't mind.
Great. But since we don't have a lot of time today, we're going to read only the strengths. So
Okay.
what are some strengths of your personality and the career path, perhaps? Okay. So if you could read each paragraph and then briefly summarize and tell us using your own words, how do you understand that? So what does bold mean? What does rational, practical? What does original means? And surprisingly, the third bullet here is exactly what you told me. So originality, you're original. You see
Yes.
here?
Okay. So should I?
Very close
Yes,
to
I
the
can
way
see
you
it.
see yourself.
Should I read them?
Yeah, if you could, you can take your time if you want to, whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'll start right now.
Okay.
Uh, Bold people with ESTP personality type, entrepreneurs, are full of life and energy. There's no greater joy for them than pushing boundaries, discovering and applying new tools and ideas. Rational and practical. These personalities love knowledge and philosophy, but not for their own sake. What's fun for ESTPs is finding ideas that are actionable and drilling into the details so they can put them to use. If a discussion is completely arbitrary, there's no better uses for their time. Original. Combining their boldness and practicality, ESTP personalities love to experiment with new ideas and solutions. They put things together in ways that no one else would think to. Perceptive. Their originality is held by their ability to notice when things change. And when they need to change, small shifts in habits and appearances stick out to ESTPs. They use these observations to help create connections with others. Direct. ESTP's perceptiveness isn't used for mind games. They prefer to communicate clearly with direct and factual questions and answers. What you see is what you get with this personality type. Sociable. All these qualities pull together to make ESTP personalities natural group leaders. This isn't something that they actually actively seek. They just have a knack for making excellent use of social interactions and networking opportunities.
Okay, so in a few words, what did you learn about yourself based on this and based on what we did so far?
Something that I learned about myself is that I didn't actually know, and it's true. I thrive on like pushing boundaries and trying out new things, like e- embracing new ideas.
Yeah, that's
Uh, and I'm very practical. Like I find whatever I can see, I put to use.
yeah. You're not very philosophical, wandering around theoretical. You're more like into whatever I learned, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna do it. So I'm gonna be there and touch it with my bare hands. So that's what second bullet point means, I think, rational and practical. And the opposite of that is feelers. People who are more emotional, they tend to be more wanderers and philosophical. But you are more rational and practical, and that's very very helpful, I think. And in the end, I only have one question, unless you have any. How did this session? How do you think it went? How did it make you feel? How are you feeling right now?
It made me feel very good because it was very interactive. I found out new things about myself, so obviously that's a good thing, even if they're bad. I like these types of sessions, because I get to know more about myself, and so do you.
Yeah,
And
that's great.
I
Hopefully
would
it
love
was.
to also hear about your personality type as well, whenever you have the time to tell me.
That's a very good question. Probably, yeah, for sure, we will have the time, even if we personally meet. I mean, if we meet in person, whenever we have sessions in person, we can do that, or in online sessions. You can easily, whenever you want to ask questions similar to the ones that we had today. It seems like that's our time for today, and I wish you a great evening. Hopefully you can have the time to rest and get ready for school tomorrow. And
Thank you.
other than that, I wish you a great weekend as well, because the weekend is already
Thank you very much. I wish you all of these things as well. I wish you have a great evening. Oh, I mean night, and
here.
also a great time at school tomorrow. And hope you have a great weekend, since we won't meet till next week.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, till then, take care. Good night.
Thank you, teacher. You too.
Thank you. Bye.